Guantanamo continues to be one of the key magnets for jihadi recruitment. We see how Guantanamo has been used to create this mythology that America is at war with Islam. And for us to close it is part of our counterterrorism strategy. We are essentially at this point detaining a handful of people, and each person is costing several $million to detain when there are more efficient ways of doing it. I think we can make a strong argument.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Just part of the press conference today by Barack Obama, the year-end presser. Joining us now is Ford O'Connell, Republican strategist and political analyst, and David Goodfriend, Democratic strategist and former aide to President Bill Clinton. Ford, he was talking about, and to me it's just amazing. Now add Gitmo to the list of, well, that's just a recruiting tool for ISIS. You see, if we want to fight ISIS, if we want to bomb ISIS, if we want to ban Muslims from coming into the country to protect us, or if we want to, scrutinize and ban Syrian refugees, everything we want to do to fight terror and ISIS, oh, well, we can't do that. It's just a recruiting tool for them.
Well, he's serving up a bunch of malarkey as it relates to ISIS because Yahoo News has actually debunked this claim. And remember, the president says Al-Qaeda's decimated, so even if Al-Qaeda used it, it doesn't matter because according to him, they don't exist. Here's what people need to know. 43% of the people left in Gitmo are high-risk terrorists, and 30% wind up returning to the fight. So guess what? He says it costs millions of dollars. If a building in the U.S. goes boom, boom, that's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars.
David?
Well, I guess if a building goes boom, boom in the U.S., you have to draw the connection that that had something to do with Gitmo. And I tend to listen to Senator John McCain, Republican chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, and himself a former prisoner of war, who's explained in great detail how what we do to our prisoners translates into how our men and women in uniform get treated when they are prisoners of war, which is going to happen. It's happened in the past. It'll happen again. And I sit with John McCain on this one. I think that we ought to be listening.
David, I used to work for John McCain. Let me say this. He doesn't want Gitmo closed, and he's voted against it.
David, you're conflating two issues. He's never. No one's ever accused us of in the past 8 years of torturing anybody at Gitmo or even sticking their head underwater. They got soccer fields. They eat better than most soldiers eat. No, you're confusing the issue.
I'm sorry, I'm not confusing the issue. The point is here that we have them outside the United States for extrajudicial purposes, and that's why a lot of people want to shut it down, not just the cost. Look, either you believe in our prison systems, that they actually work, that they can hold criminals behind bars, or you don't. If you don't think our prison system works, then why don't you call for an ending of the federal prison system? Because I
think you're completely conflating the issue here. First of all, they're enemy combatants, and the only time they should be brought to the United States is if they're U.S. citizens. And to bring them to the United States is only going to further bring problems here, because even if I put them in a car on a supermax, they can escape.
How does it cause problems?
Because they could escape. Are you kidding me? You're willing to endanger the lives
no, this is
of American
good.
David, you asked him. Let Ford continue. Go ahead, Ford.
I cannot believe that you further endanger the lives of U.S. citizens to make a liberal legal point that has no standing, because they have no standing in the U.S. court of law because they're enemy combatants.
Well, clearly you've just shown us that you don't think federal prisons can hold people behind bars, so I'd like you to now...
I'm saying that they don't even deserve federal prisons because they're not U.S. citizens and they don't have standing underneath the law.
All right, guys, there's something else the president said on gun control, of course, and a future executive order, which we all know is coming on background checks at least. He also talked about Gitmo and that, and he said, I don't want to talk about it. I want to try to see what I can accomplish with Congress, but because sometimes they surprise me. I mean, Ford, this is a president who has redefined the powers of the presidency because he's arrogant and he's power hungry and he doesn't give a damn. And we have a Congress who's afraid to do anything to check him, and this president will sign a slew of executive orders on the way out the door.
Well, absolutely. The president's #1 goal in his final year in office is to get the guns no matter what, and what he's trying to do...
Wait a minute, David, wait a minute.
...is absolutely smart. He's conflating terror with gun violence, and therefore he's going to try any way possible to boost his position. This is politics as usual.
David, to that point, David, and you can respond to all of it, he did say today at the press conference that he put together, when asked how do you prevent the next terrorist attack, whatever, he said that preventing the next terrorist attack and the next massive gun shooting, that's tough. So he lumped those together for the first time, disgustingly, I might add.
Well, what's disgusting to me is that more Americans die as a result of handgun deaths than
Well,
terrorism.
then get the gangs and lock them up and throw away the key. Don't let them out.
Well, here's the thing, okay? It is a great advertising tool for Smith & Wesson because every time the president talks about guns, gun sales go up because guys like you talk about him wanting to take away everybody's guns, which is ridiculous on its face. There are more guns than people in the United States. You're not going to take away guns. However, I do think that it's interesting to think about ammunition. There's nothing in the Second Amendment that says you have a right to ammunition.
Right. You run on that. You let Hillary run on banning ammunition and see how far you get. That'll be great.
Well,
Please tell Hillary that.
American support.
We're coming back. We're coming back with more. They don't even support a so-called assault weapons ban anymore. We're coming back with more. Don't go away. All right, folks, welcome back. Ford O'Connell and David Goodfriend rejoin us. I want to put up something, guys, that Barack Obama held an off-the-record session with a bunch of reporters. And after that session, the New York Times wrote this. In his meeting with the columnists, Mr. Obama indicated that he did not see enough cable television to fully appreciate the anxiety after the terrorist attacks in Paris and San Bernardino. And he made clear that he plans to step up his public arguments. He also said that we can't send troops to go fight ISIS because 100 Americans would die every month. Boy, I'd be dead, and we'd always speak in German if he was around in World War II. But that's neither here nor there. Let's concentrate on this. And of course, the New York Times took that out without explanation. I guess after they got a call from the administration saying that is so severely embarrassing. Please take it down. And of course, they capitulated. So what about it, Ford? He reacted the way he did and has gotten so much criticism after those attacks and the way he handled his reaction because he didn't realize how concerned the American public was because he wasn't watching enough cable TV. Is he out of his mind?
Well, let's do a Democratic favorite. Let's just imagine if Bush said this, the mainstream media would be raining holy hell down on him. Herein lies the point. What Obama openly admitted is, one, he doesn't care about this, and two, he misjudged a serious threat. So you have one job as the commander-in-chief, and that's to keep Americans safe and understanding to them where they feel unsafe. So guess what? He violated rule number one of being commander-in-chief.
What about it, David?
Well, usually when the New York Times takes something down, it's because it was proven false. And that's what happened here, I believe. I mean,
no.
His
Nobody
favorite
said it was
milk
proven
Valerie
false.
Well, you're assuming that because it appeared once and it was taken down, you've given a backstory that I think you just made up. I mean, usually
No, I didn't make it
No,
up.
actually, David, here is the New York Times explanation. They said that it was taken out because when we print things, sometimes they become edited due to length. Herein lies the problem. The edited version is 2 paragraphs longer. So guess what? The New York Times really dropped the ball.
I think the New York Times is perfectly capable of not admitting itself when it gets something wrong. You, of all people, would certainly agree with that.
David,
Look,
David, so
me
you're
and I
defense.
Wait,
Wait, David, you're
forget about the New York Times. Just forget for a second. Let's both stipulate something here, and I'll be the first to say it, okay? I think President Obama could, should, must, has needed to do a lot more in the way of reflecting back to the American people the urgency of something. He plays it cool way too much, and that's my personal criticism of him. I think it's true. But his alternative, the reason he does this, and I've heard this explained to me by a lot of people close to him, there's so many people out there kind of going hysterical as their go-to position. He believes it's his role to keep calm and carry on. Now, I don't think that's always appropriate. I think sometimes you have to get angry and look at the American people and say, we need to be angry about this. I think this is one of those times. But there is rationality behind that decision. It is a decision on his part. And I want a real... one of the biggest things that terrorists can do to us.
This is a man who
Hold on, one last thought. I'll get on.
Guys, I want to move on to another story.
Okay.
A Virginia school district is now closed because they received a bunch of complaints. I'm still not sure what they thought was going to happen, that the non-Muslim parents complaining about this were going to blow up the school. I'm not sure why they closed, but I'm more interested in what the assignment was. Augusta County School District in Virginia, the teacher's lesson on calligraphy, and we could put that up. I think we have the calligraphy writing of it. They wanted the students to write, "There is no God but Allah." You know what, David? This is insanity in this day and age. There it is. It's up on your screen. And there are other examples of this where it is another jurisdiction, another city around the United States where at their Christmas party they were singing to Allah. I think that this is insanity run amok.
All right, so let me make sure I understand the facts. A calligraphy teacher took out a piece of Farsi or whatever the language is and showed how to trace it for calligraphy lesson purposes. And someone found out that the Arabic that I can't understand and most Americans can't understand if you read it turned out to have said that
yeah, we don't have a lot of time. That's what they said. It said there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Yeah, I know that was an accident. Just happened to be that. She had no idea that that's what it was. It was a total coincidence, right?
And the teacher's name was something like Christy. What was her name?
I don't care what her name is.
The American name.
The point is, she's another
I can't get over it.
Judeo-Christian
David,
hating
you
okay?
chose to
That's the bottom line.
Go ahead.
What do you guys? What's the?
Ford, go ahead. David chose to restate
She's
the whole
another
case.
Judeo-Christian hating lib-lab, and guess what? Her explanation on calligraphy doesn't match up with the superintendent of the Augusta County Schools, who basically says it was about appreciation of world religion. The point is she wanted to thumb it up, and we can't say Merry Christmas in schools.
Right.
This whole thing's a sham.
Right, that's the point. All right, David and Ford, Merry Christmas
You're
and Happy New Year to both of you. We'll speak to you soon. Up next, New York Times bestselling author Ronald Kessler. But first, don't forget to cast your vote for who you feel won Tuesday's GOP debate. Log on to NewsmaxPolls.com. That's NewsmaxPolls.com. Vote now.